Been very little discussion addressing the motivations of Islamism, which is behind the jihadist attacks. At most of the celebrations, they've either been completely devoid, as in New York, they had no religious reference at all, or here yesterday in LA where they had religious reference, but they didn't address the Quranic and Islamic inspiration for global conquest in Islam's name. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think the most important thing that we can do is tell the truth. And over the years, I have many people saying, is Islam a threat? And I think the answer is, depends which Islam. The 19 hijackers and their supporters, their food chain, the people who celebrated what they did, and till this day celebrate, they have, I would say, become infected with an ideology which is wrapped in theology, which basically says what they're doing is what Allah wants them to do. To attack that mindset, that counterattack has to come from within Islam. There's not much that the rest of us on the outside looking in can do. And I think when people say that this represents a minority view, we have to take them at their word and also urge them to take the necessary steps. At the same time, take, for example, President Wahid, the late former president of Indonesia, who was honored by the Simon Wiesenthal Center and who actually hosted a multi-faith conference in Bali, which the Wiesenthal Center ran with a number of other groups in the world's largest Muslim country. And unfortunately, a man who passed away at the age of 69, but not just a political leader, but a religious leader who led about 40 million people and who taught them this kind of behavior against anyone is a desecration of God's name, not a sanctification. Those voices, are the ones that have to prevail within Islam. We are bystanders, in a sense. There's not much that we can do. But one thing is for sure, denying, in the case of 9/11, who did it, why they did it, is not going to help in any way minimize the threat. If anything, it kind of confuses things. And, the ongoing challenge is for all of us to understand what's the nature of the threat, who's it coming from, how do we protect ourselves, and how do we make sure that those forces within what's called, I guess, the Ummah, over 1 billion people, are ultimately marginalized. The leadership on that has to come from the Muslim world.